Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of EduMatch. I'm super excited to have with us today our guest Ray Hughart. So welcome to EduMatch, Ray.
Thank you so much. This is so awesome to be able to chat with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great to have you here. So I'm super excited about this. So let me tell you all a little bit about Ray. Ray is a middle school math teacher and the director of training and development at Teach Better Team. She's also an educational speaker and a co-host of the Teach Better Talk podcast, which I was super excited to be on Monday. So that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks or so. So her interests include PBL, personalized learning, and mastery chat, which we're going to hopefully get into in just a couple of minutes. So that is awesome, Ray. So again, thank you for being here. So tell us, who or what inspired you to go into education?
Gosh, that is such a loaded question to even start off, just because everyone's reason to go in education is so different and mine is backwards. So I hated school growing up. I had an IEP and just thought that school was hard. I was the kid that the parent is dragging in the student after the bell rings saying oh, I couldn't get her to go to school. And I loved my teachers. Everything was just hard. And it was hard to go in and out of school for 8 hours a day when everything was just really challenging. Um, Long story short, something just clicked in high school. I was teaching dance, and dance was kind of like my safe haven of something I felt good doing and I felt accomplished doing. And I had this moment trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I was like, I like teaching dance. I could be a teacher. And as I started exploring what universities to go to, I had to pick a content area. For a long time, I thought it would be dance. I would go and be this incredible dance instructor, right? How fun would that be? And as a struggling learner, I actually decided I wanted to go back and be a math teacher because I hated math. And I was so confident that with some of the ideas I had from dance, that I could put that back in a math classroom and change it up. And so while that's a very odd story, now I'm a sixth grade math teacher.
Wow, that is so powerful. And I love the fact that you use like your dance background in, to bring it into math. So just a follow-up question, like what does that look like in your classroom?
Well, so I guess it looked like a lot of different things. I ended up getting qualified in math, science, reading, and writing. And when I got into my first job, I just knew that I wanted to build relationships with students. And that was my focus. I'm like a very creative person. And so I wanted to bring that creativity to light in the classroom. And then I knew I wanted to build relationships because that was about the only element that I loved about school was my teachers. They were just so sweet, and I really wanted to please them constantly. And so I got into teaching. I was at actually I accepted a job at a school I'd never even heard the name of. I moved to a random area all by myself, me and my cat. We moved there, and I started building relationships and realized that not only did I need to really dive harder into content because that was the focus of the school that I was at was rigorous content, but also my students needed to understand the why behind that rigorous content. And I needed to find a way to do that in my own way. And so within my first few years teaching, I developed a teaching model that combined a lot of PBL, a lot of STEM, but with an umbrella of purpose. And I ended up organizing 25 different themed internships for my students to participate in that were sponsored by local businesses. So they finally understood that umbrella of why before they actually had to learn any content. And that kind of built the rest of my career in education so far is helping other teachers really see the value in starting with that why, because everything from there is an uphill battle and it's totally worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. Starting with that why. We hear that a lot of times for us as educators, but also it's very important to bring that out in our students. So yeah, so that is wonderful.
Well,
So yeah.
it's just hard to do. I think teachers hear these philosophies, these starting with the why, the build relationships, and I think most teachers want to do that and they want to do it really well. Teachers, we don't get an education thinking, I'm not going to do that very well, but it'll be fine. We have good hearts, and really helping teachers figure out not just the idea of starting with the why, but how do you actually build that in day out? So your students walk in and they understand the purpose of showing up to school, because that's been the battle I've been combating with. We have students that act like parents at night and in the morning and come to school and they get treated like children. How can they see the value of being in a part of our school community? And it's so important. So I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Our students, they need to feel like, like they have a place in our community, and definitely just I'm just like, whatever you're throwing down right now, I'm picking it up. So really, really loving it. All right. So tell us, you do a lot of connecting with other educators. So what are some things that you've learned along the way in the journey of your own route to connecting with other educators?
Oh gosh, I thought I went to education and I thought you closed your door and just was there for 50 years. It's amazing. My first few years teaching, I started connecting with a strong network of educators around the world, and it has completely changed the game. Obviously, now that I'm connected with the Teach Better team, for me, that's a vessel to reach more teachers, to work with more teachers. And whether it's traveling around to other districts to support them with mastering personalized learning, or connecting with the community, or just encouraging teachers to take risks with their students, it's so incredible what hearing from other educators and learning from what other educators can bring. Like I said earlier, my focus getting into education was that creativity and relationship. But to be honest, I lacked the content specialty. I really needed to up my game, kind of filling in the gaps that I had as a student to be able to teach effectively, right? I mean, sixth grade math, I might be the only sixth grade math teacher that got a D in sixth grade math as a student, right? I mean, come on. So, as connecting with other educators has helped me so much fill in areas that I knew I needed to work harder in. I've grown so much from the educators in my building, but really that network on Twitter and Instagram, it's incredible.
Yeah, that is the truth. Like, as you're talking, then you're reminding me also of my own journey where, learning with other educators. And, I started off pretty rough in education. And once I got connected, then, definitely I was able to help get some help in the areas where I needed it. So I love, love, love what you were saying right now. So that is dopeness.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about your lifelong learning. But tell us a little more. Like, so you mentioned like Twitter, Instagram, you also mentioned Teach Better. So how else have you, driven your own professional learning?
Gosh, a lot of my professional learning right now comes from Twitter chats. The Teach Better team has their own Twitter chat. It's hashtag Mastery Chat on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. I always get this wrong. Oh my gosh. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. I hate time zones, right? You live it, right? Time zones, awful. Um, but Twitter chats have been so amazing for me to be able to sit down for a half an hour and learn from educators around the country is outstanding. So I'm in about 3 Twitter chats a week for sure. Outside of Mastery Chat, I'm doing hashtag Ames Network, which is on Tuesday nights. And there's thousands out there that I wish I could be a part of even more. But also, I get to travel to a lot of conferences and districts to work with teachers. And while I know that's not official PD, because I'm usually in some way have a facilitator role, there is so much that can be learned from hearing other teachers' stories. One of my favorites that I heard recently was from a teacher in like on the East Coast that was talking about their exploration through PBL. And I love PBL, but the way that this teacher was struggling was so important for me because it was a way that I felt like I could fix her problem. And so we sat down and we processed through how to reach her students. And while, of course, I hope that she got something out of it, it really showed me the power of how teachers can really connect with students in so many ways. And some people's areas that they excel in are other people's areas that they need support in. And I just love being able to work with teachers that can continue to grow. Being able to see their growth inspires me. I'm continuing to grow too.
Yeah, it's definitely all about that lifelong learning. And something you said reminded me of something that Brent Coley said, that someone somewhere is Googling exactly what you have in your mind. So definitely being able to learn from one another and support one another.
Well, and we talk all the time on the Teach Better team. I mean, I truly believe the answers to the problems that I am having in my classroom exist in a different classroom. I just need to reach out and find who that is.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we all have so much knowledge that each of us brings to the table. So definitely just learning and growing from one another. So love it. All right. So speaking of Teach Better, so you have a very successful podcast series and you're constantly sharing content frequently with your audience. So tell us a little bit about Teach Better Talk. Like what exactly is that? Where can we find you all?
Gosh, Teach Better Talk was Jeff Gargas, who's a part of the Teach Better team. He's kind of the man in charge, or at least we let him think he is. No, but he had this dream of doing a podcast, and I am a talker, and I love being able to kind of talk shop with Jeff. And we decided to start this podcast. We released this past August, and we're essentially bringing on educators and listening to their story. And the reason I love it is because we're able to have a about 30-minute session where we're hearing about somebody that I have literally stalked on Twitter or Instagram for years, and we're talking about real things. Where have they seen failures? You know, what are their successes? What are their recommendations on where to start if you want to dive into a new progressive topic that maybe they're an expert in? Um, there's just so much they've been able to share. So for me, I really loved being able to sit with these educators and really pick their brain. There's so many podcasts out there, there's so much information to share. And it's just been a great opportunity for us to highlight the incredible educators out there that are already a part of our network, but maybe you don't know all the secrets going on with them. So if you want to check out Teach Better Talk, you can, of course, go to teachbetter.com. We have like a tab, but we're also on every podcast, I think, avenue ever. So just search Teach Better Talk, and it's Jeff Gargas and I are able to host that. We have some fun. You were just featured on one. I can't wait for that to release. You had so much information that was so good for all of our listeners to hear.
Oh, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure and an honor to be on. So I'm super excited. So yeah, and I hear you mention a lot about this is kind of like a rabbit hole, but I hear you mention like Twitter and Instagram. So I know that we were having a conversation recently in one of the EduMatch Voxer groups about Instagram and how to better leverage it. So I just went on. I saw that you were like using stories and all kinds of things. So could you tell us a little more about how you personally use Instagram?
Oh my gosh, I can, but I am not good at it. No, so the Teach Better team, like Twitter is our jam. Like we are constantly on Twitter connecting with teachers. I mean, I can't remember a day that I haven't connected with an awesome teacher on Twitter. It's constant. And this summer, one of my friends that is now at my school, Josie Bensko, she's Maniacs in the Middle on Instagram. And needless to say, if you look up Josie Bensko, Maniacs in the Middle, she has killed Instagram. Like she is an all-star educator. She has figured out how to connect with teachers, and she really has built this incredible platform to connect with teachers around the globe. And I reached out to her this summer and said, "Can you teach me about Instagram?" Like I swore to you, I like didn't understand what the difference between posting a picture was, what the difference between posting a story was, what are these live Instagram videos? Like, oh, holy moly, these are all different. And she was fortunate enough, she let me have coffee with her and talked me through like the quick tips. And it's so similar to Twitter. Obviously, I know what a hashtag is, but teachers just use it in different ways. So here's what I've learned. My posts that I'm posting are really things that I want every educator to see, regardless of when they're able to make it to my account. There's things, honest thoughts about my classroom, honest concerns that I'm having, but also celebrations of the incredible things that my students are doing. Last Friday, my students just hosted a pop-up restaurant in our classroom for the entire school and the entire class day. We had over 100 community members come in and eat at our restaurant. And so that was a perfect way to post a picture of that and celebrate the incredible feat that they just took on. It was one of our PBL Teach Further units. But then I do stories, and that's kind of the talk. When you talk shop with people, it's what's going on in life this, during a specific day, or what topics are hot on my mind. You know how it is. The stories are just, they're only there for 24 hours. So it's an interesting thing to learn about Instagram. Very different from Twitter. We'll see. I don't know how I'm doing on it. We'll see.
Oh, I think you're rocking it. I think that you're definitely rocking it. So that is cool. Yeah, I took a long hiatus off of Instagram and now I'm back. So I'm seeing how everything's different. Now they have that IGTV. That's insanity. Have you seen that?
I have, but I don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Shout out to Marvia Davison. She kind of gave me an education on it, but she was saying about how it was like you can have up to 10 minutes of like vertical videos. So I've been like taking my Periscope videos and saving them to my camera feed and then just like posting those right back on. So yeah.
That's smart. See? Thank you for teaching me. I'm gonna have to explore that this week.
Oh, sweet. Well, awesome. We are learning from each other today. So
Absolutely.
this is awesome. Awesomeness. So tell us some more about Teach Better. So you told us about the podcast. You told us about Mastery Chat. And what other things do y'all do at Teach Better?
Oh my gosh. The Teach Better team is all about helping teachers teach better. And it's not teaching better than the person down the hall or the person across the hallway, but how to teach better than you taught yesterday, and how we can continue this growth mindset, not only for our students, but for ourselves. How can we continue to better our craft? And so we've obviously done the blog. We love the blogs that we've been able to do. And we have a podcast, which I know we talked about, and we do a Twitter chat. We also have an Instagram and a Twitter feed that you're welcome to follow as well. And it's really one of my favorite things that we do is we go in and we work with teachers live. We have free and full online courses at Teach Better Academy. And those are great ways for teachers to get PD. I was actually working on one earlier this afternoon that we'll release in a few months on standard-based grading. But my favorite things is to actually just like get into the schools and work with teachers. And that's one of my favorite things we're able to do with the Teach Better team is send out PD facilitators and just hang out with teachers, give them feedback on their classroom, and work on anything we train on. And it seems like we have hundreds of things, but they're all within the focus of really ensuring that our classrooms are progressive and innovative, and we're implementing these new ideas really purposefully in our schools.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about, definitely moving forward and doing things differently from the way that they've always been done, so we can have our students be prepared for this world that we live in and the world that, that they'll be living in the future. So
yeah, and you know better than anybody. I mean, we have teachers that are hearing about these great ideas, but how do they actually do them with fidelity and with grit, and how do they do them while creating rigorous curriculum? So our team's really diverse, which I think helps. We have Tiffany Ott, who's the curriculum and instructor director. We have Chad Erskowski, who's the CEO, and Jeff Gargis. And kind of with these powers combined, we have this very diverse view on how we can build education. I think that's really helped as teachers move forward and work with us, because me, who had an IEP and really hated school, Tiffany is a gifted education specialist. Chad was a science teacher that essentially built an entire framework about personalized learning that I wholeheartedly swear by. And then Jeff has this incredible business background. So it's interesting, this family we've built.
It sounds kind of like Captain Planet with our powers combined.
Exactly. We should all have rings. I think of it.
Good. Totally. Oh man, that is awesome. So, all right. So, what is the grid method?
Yeah. So, Chad Erskowski is the creator of the grid method, and it was what the Teach Better team was built on. Jeff and Chad met. And Chad claims to have this awful time in his life, in his teaching career. He was thinking about leaving education, and he knew he had to find a more authentic way to facilitate self-paced learning. So he created something called the grid method, which then they started training teachers on. And as he was sharing, he had so many people asking, he actually left the classroom to go train on it. When I met Jeff and Chad, it was during a Twitter chat with Dave Burgess, who wrote Teach Like a Pirate. And I was hosting his chat, and they reached out to me saying, "Oh, Ray, we love what you're doing. Would you be interested in trying a self-paced framework called the grid method?" And I was like, "No, thanks, appreciate it." And they were like, "What do you mean no?" And I'm like, "Well, I love the idea of a self-paced classroom, right? I did flip classroom, all this stuff. It just never works. There's so many gaps. There's too many things to keep track of. I'm a middle school 6th grade teacher. I have like 150 kids. I don't got time to pretend to do this self-paced system that you want to sell me," with essentially the joke that I had with them. And they're like, "Ray, we don't want to sell it to you. Here's a course. Take it as you want. Just try it." I was like, people that don't want to sell me things. That seems like a bad business model for them, right? Like, awful. So I tried it. I told them I'd do one lesson with it, or one unit. I wasn't going to do any further. And I fell in love. My students will not let me change at all. I've done it for 3 years. And as I said earlier, I'm doing this internship framework. So the grid method is how I'm building my rigorous curriculum. It's all scaffolded by DOK, and it not only helps teachers it not only helps teachers build a self-paced, rigorous curriculum, but then how to facilitate it, which I think is that missing piece. A lot of teachers know how to do one thing, but don't know how to implement it well, or know how to implement it, but don't know how to build it well. And this part had two parts. My kids love it. So they're operating within themed internships sponsored by local businesses, all in a self-paced model using the grid method. It's amazing. So I could talk on and on about the grid method, but it has truly changed my classroom. The day I met those gentlemen, it changed my life. And now being able to work with them in helping teachers change their instruction the same way I did just a few years ago, it's mind-boggling where we started. And it's mind-boggling how big of a change I've seen in not only my students, but my parents.
Ooh, okay. Tell us more about the parent change.
Well, when you implement a self-paced system in a classroom, there's a big ownership shift. It's no longer me standing in front of the room for 45 minutes lecturing. I mean, I thought I was a pretty good teacher. I'm funny. Like, people should want to listen to me lecture, right? I mean, I'm good. I walk around the room. I can lecture like nobody's business. But my whole setup is totally different. I do a 6-minute mini lesson with a timer, and my kids are nice enough that when the timer goes off, they like nicely let me finish my sentence, and then they go and they tell me that they need to move on to student work time. It's their internship. You can't take It's like when they schedule meetings during our plan time as teachers. It's like, you're taking my time away, right? That's how my students feel. It's their work time, and they're operating in that self-paced model. And then we end with a 5 to 6 minute student goal setting and reflection. And that's where they're reflecting on how their student time went, and they're setting goals for their next work session, just like we would in the real world. And they're doing this all with this internship mindset. Now, what I love is that we're using a tech program. I'm sure you've heard of Seesaw, but it allows the parents to interact with the goal setting and reflection. So for them, they have truly a portal into our classroom every single day with how their student was in their learning. And my parent-teacher conferences, and I know I'm jinxing myself, but I do this all the time. I'm 3 years in, and I cross my fingers still. They are so confident with what's going on in the classroom because it's so transparent. They see every step that their students taking. They're a part of every conversation we're having. And our students take so much ownership in their learning. I act as just a facilitator to be there to get them what they need when they need it. And it's been incredible how different the mindset of my families have been shifted. They're now stakeholders because they know what's going on, not stakeholders because they're crossing their fingers, hoping good things are going on. It's really fascinating to watch. And I love hearing their feedback about how happy they are that their students are learning these real life skills so young, they're 11 and 12, but so young in their life.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. And that right there is like ISTE standard 4 for educators, the collaborator one. I think it's indicator D where you involve, where everyone is a part of it. So So
Right.
that is pretty much the epitome of that right there, what you described. So
Well, what I really love is that it builds not only the student meeting the standard, but there's enrichment as well. And so I have students that are just doing the grade level expectations, but mastering content at grade level, which they've never probably done in the past. And then I have students that are taking enrichment farther than I could have ever imagined because they are driving themselves. It's not me standing behind them, clapping my hands, getting them forward, but they're running and I'm like just keeping up with the craziness that they're designing. I have a student that during our Tobin's Pizza internship, where she actually designed her own small business and she submitted her proposal to the mayor. She wants to open a water park in Bloomington Normal, which is where we live. She has the plot of where she wants to build it. She made it, I mean, she did all this work. It's just incredible. And it was all enrichment working with decimals and long division. I mean, killer. She's awesome.
that is awesome. Those are authentic learning experiences. Just love it. Love hearing about it. So, what are some things that we can expect to see from you in the near future?
Oh goodness. For me personally, nothing. No, just kidding. No, there's some exciting things coming along. I hope everybody listening checks out the Teach Better Talk podcast. That's always a great spot to keep these conversations going with educators around the country. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you that we have a book hopefully coming out soon. That will be, if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that, but that's coming out soon. So keep an eye out for Teach Better book. And yeah, I'm speaking all over. So I hope that everybody listening and everybody a part of this network, we're able to connect hopefully in person someday, because virtually is great. But I'll be doing the keynote in December for Ames Network and a bunch of other stuff later this year. So keep looking at conferences. I always try and meet my network face to face at some point. So if anybody around here is going to a conference, make sure to pop in and say hi.
Awesomeness. So definitely looking forward to that, and looking forward to continuing to follow your journey. And I would love it if you could share where we could find you online.
Oh, sure. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere because nobody should have an excuse not to reach out. At first I was only on Twitter, and then they're like, oh, sorry, I don't have a Twitter. I'm like, well, then I'm getting an Instagram, right? All right. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Ray Hughart, which is just my name, RaeHughart. Facebook, the same, Ray Hughart. You can be a part of our Teach Better Team conversation by joining our Facebook page. It's a private group called Teach Better Team. And you can always check out my website at teachbetter.com to find out what's going on with everyone on our team and learn more about kind of all the things we've talked about here.
That is awesomeness. Well, I definitely want to thank you for taking the time out to chat with us today in the EduMatch community. It was definitely a pleasure.
So appreciate it. This was an honor to be a part of this. So I love what you guys are doing. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So just wanted to let everybody know that this is going to be available on our podcast as well as on Facebook within the coming weeks. So we'll definitely blast that out. In addition, anyone who might be watching right now, then our 6 p.m. tweet and talk is postponed, but we will bring it back for sure, for sure. Tune in for our next time, which will be on the 18th of November. So we're taking off next Sunday, but the following Sunday, same bad time, same bad channel, we are going to be talking about STEAM or STEM in the classroom, and it's going to be moderated by Dr. Tatul and Toya. So definitely check us out. You can sign up for panel if you want to be part of that great discussion at podcast.edumatch.org/sign up, and you can watch it podcast.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So everybody have a wonderful 2 weeks, and see you soon.